do you think it would be better to go after the bureaus with squirt guns blazing, or do you think it'd be better to go after them with the cannons? Well, some of you let me know in the comments that you don't understand blatant inaccuracies, and for that reason, we're going over this as well as the difference between those and factual-based disputes, because you need to understand what is a squirt gun and what is a cannon when it comes to fighting the credit bureaus. All right, so if you pause this here, yes, this is live, but yes, you can pause it, go down into the description and click on the link, no opt-in, no email, pull it up with me and go over these examples so that you can understand exactly what I'm talking about. You can always do this later, or you can just look at your screen or listen to me. Okay, so a blatant inaccuracy versus a factual dispute is very, very simple. Blatant is when you look at the account and without having to go date less active, date less paid, payment status details, so on and so forth, you can look at the account and just say, oh my God, this is inaccurate, or this is a violation. This needs to be removed because of X. All right, so examples would be a different balance, right? You have Capital One reported on all three bureaus, but you have what, $15 on one bureau, $22 on the other bureau, and zero on one. Zero obviously means that it's paid. So if they report that it's paid, then why is there a $15 balance here and a $22 balance there? I can very simply say that this account was paid because X bureau is reporting it as zero balance, and otherwise it would actually have a balance, right? And of course, we would want to condense that with the facts, be very, very simple, but I'm just explaining this so that you understand it. So each creditor should report the exact same balance, whether it's 0, 15, or $22. Now, I also put an impact on here. So 10 out of 10 means that is a canon, okay? And so a 1 out of 10 would be something like open date. Okay, so just so that you understand what this impact is over here in the last column. Now, past due is kind of the same, right? It's a 9 out of 10 on the impact, and it follows the same structure that you want to have 15, 15, 15, 22, 20, 22, or 0, 0, 0. So if it's paid, obviously there should be a 0. If it was sold or transferred to another company, like a collector, then it should say 0. And you can use that same structure where, hey, if this says 0, even if it's unpaid, that obviously it means that it's paid. So delete that account for inaccuracy, right? Now, the third one is balance on a sold account. What that means is that they no longer hold the account, but they're still reporting the balance. Only the account holder or the account owner should report the balance. So in the comments where it says transfer or sold to another lender, another company, another whoever, there should not be a past due, there should not be a balance. Okay, and that is definitely an 8 out of 10. So if the balance equals $100, the status equals sold or transferred, then that is inaccurate. Number 4 would be a re-aged account, right? So let's say the date last active was 5 years ago. The date last active should be consistent 5 years across all three bureaus. But if two bureaus are showing 5 years ago and one shows 2 months ago, and you disputed 2 months ago, that means that they re-aged it to when you actually disputed it. And they shouldn't be changing that date. They should be changing the date last reported, not re-aging the date last active. And that's most definitely a 10 out of 10. Now, you can find out a ton of more information about this, and we are not done yet. We're just pausing here real quick, down in the description by clicking on the link to get to the free subscriber hub. Not only the free subscriber hub, which has awesome, free, again, gratis, do-it-yourself credit repair resources, but you can also get access to the deep dive dispute workshop, where I go and basically give a crash course on how to dispute using factual-based disputes, okay? Now, some of this is just not for everybody, and maybe you want to have this done the right way. Maybe you want an expert to do it. Maybe you want to get the highest credit score possible in the least amount of time. Then that would be where you can go and schedule a call with me one-on-one, and I will see if I... All right, now jumping back into this, weird payment history. Now, I didn't really know how else to word this, but if you just look at the account and look at the payment history, you're going to understand what I'm talking about when you see that it doesn't follow 30, 60, 90. It might be okay, 90, or okay, 120, right? That's inaccurate. And you're going to see this a lot with student loans, that they not always, but virtually always, specifically Navient, report you when you are late down in the payment history show. So it should say 30, 60, 90, 120, and sometimes even 150, and then 180, and then charged off. Okay. So if you are seeing that, it's because they don't report you as late until you have hit 90 days. I don't care about that though. The FCRA doesn't say that you should be reported late at 90 days. So what this means is that the 2 prior late payments prior to the 90 days or the 3 late payments prior to the 120 days are actually not on time, but are supposed to be reported as late, and therefore it's inaccurate. Now, we don't want to bring this to our attention. What we do want to say is that the account needs to be updated to paid on time, never late for inaccuracy, because I was not 90 days late on this date according to your payment history, right? Now, the next one is date last reported. So the date last reported should be the date that the bureau's updated and verified. And yes, I quoted this, verified. Now, you will see that it's a blatant inaccuracy, because you'll see that 2 bureaus report, the updated quote unquote verified date, but one bureau, such as TransUnion, I see this a lot with TransUnion, they won't update that date, and basically means that they didn't investigate, because if they had, this date would have been updated, and it'll be going all the way back to 2013, 2014, 2016, whenever it was last updated prior to your dispute, right? And I've actually gone like 8 months of disputing, and TransUnion didn't update the date, but they were saying that it was verified. So that is most definitely a blatant inaccuracy, and so you recently disputed, but it shows 2016 would be an example, right? And this is actually a 7 out of 10. And then the weird payment history is actually a 7 out of 10 as well. All right. So moving on, unpaid judgment with zero balance. Now, you haven't heard me talk about this for a couple of years, probably back when I used to use Credit Check Total. So I switched over to Identity IQ January 18th of 2018. So I've been using it consistently since then because of the factual data that it gives me. It gives me all sorts of information that I can work with that I don't really see consistently on other credit monitoring. And I do have a discounted link for you. I'll put that down in the description if you want to get it for $21.99 per month instead of $29.99 per month. And full disclosure, it is an affiliate link, but it is very simply so that you can have the information that you need, just the same information that I use for my clients, and I even used for my husband when I fixed his credit, so that you can actually get the data that you want. So that is down in the description, like I mentioned. But the reason that I bring this up is because I haven't seen this on Identity IQ. I did see it a lot on Credit Check Total. So with an unpaid judgment, there should be a balance, right? But in this example, there's a zero balance. So if the balance is zero, it basically tells me that the account has been paid, right? So an example of this blatant inaccuracy is seeing Experian and Equifax report $100 on the judgment, but TransUnion reports zero. So you can use this, and this is a 9 out of 10. You can use this basically to say that TransUnion reports zero balance, which means that it's paid. So these other two need to be removed, and then you would just come up with a better reason to get TransUnion off. Or you can just ask for deletion of the entire account across all 3 bureaus, wording it very carefully because of the inaccuracy and inconsistency between the reporting of all 3 bureaus. And you can kind of follow the same thing with tax liens, but I haven't really seen it with tax liens all that much. It's more along the lines of a judgment. All right, so bankruptcy, and going back to Credit Check Total, and sometimes even on Experian, a bankruptcy with the year 0001 or similar, something that's totally not in our century, right? Or just outside the statute of limitations. So an example of this would be 2 bureaus reporting to 2015, and then Equifax reporting May 0001. This is a 9 out of 10 as well. And then second to last would be past due on a collection. So here's the deal, and a lot of people don't understand this. If it's a collection, number one, it's already late. Obviously, it's a collection. And number two, it's already past due, right? So we're technically putting the last 2 together. So if the status is collection, and it also reports payment history showing late payments or a past due, and or, then it's a blatant inaccuracy. And I would even go as far as saying that one of these is a violation. I believe it's a past due. So past due would be an 8 out of 10, and late payments would be a 7 out of 10. Now, when can you use this? Well, this is actually going to directly answer some of the questions that I saw in the comments yesterday on a couple of videos. You would use this to remove companies like Midland, Portfolio, Cavalry, Second Round. I normally don't use these for third party or apartment or medical because I actually use the validation of debt method in addition to disputing with the bureaus, trying to get them to give some sort of documentation proving ownership, right? So you're going to use these blatant inaccuracies and, you know, / violation on something that's a little bit more difficult or even a lot more difficult, like Portfolio. All right. So these are the blatant inaccuracies, and they're different from factual disputing, just regular factual disputes, because you're not going down the hierarchy. You're not going down the pyramid. You're not using the evolution line. You're not doing any of these things. We're dealing with these huge cannons prior to, running out of ammo, and now we have to go with smaller weapons. Okay. So if you first use your blatant inaccuracies, and these are only a few of them off the top of my head that I see all the time, then your next step, if those accounts are still there, whether it's a public record, whether it's, a late payment, whether it's a collection, a foreclosure, repossession, doesn't matter. You would then, if they're still there, like I said, go down the hierarchy, right? Depending on the regular inaccuracies that you find on the account. Now, I hope that this did clear some things up for you. If it didn't, just post it in the comments and let me know, and I will do my best to clarify some of this. But again, I go much more into this in the deep dive dispute workshop. Link is in the description. I hope you have a wonderful day, and that is it for now. Now, if you want to check out my live podcast, totally free as well, where we talk about everything credit, you can go find that out at Capiche, capiche.fm/ask-Kristen with 2 I's. And I'm going to put that link down in the description as well. So there's a couple of very, very important links down in the description, including the link to access this. No opt-in, no email, totally free. All right. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will talk to you later. I will see you later. Make sure to stay safe. And again, if you need my help, use the link in the description and schedule your 101 free discovery call to see if I can take over your file and get you the results